Hello folks, I'm trying to figure out how to properly use the Igor Pro macro, and I want to show you very briefly what I've discovered, and then you guys can continue to do the work that you want to. So first, I'm just going to start off by loading Igor. And I'm letting the loading process occur. And then I'm going into the BLI 511 analysis, and I'm clicking on that, and I'm going to give that guy a go, and it's going to say file in use, do you want to open or read only? And I'm going to say yes. And then to that, I'm going to say compile, and then that's going to compile our macro. And then from there, I'm going to go to macro initialize, which I think you've already done, then macro update. Then I'm going to go to macro set BI82, and because our June data is more familiar to us, we're going to start with the 8.2 data, which I think is much better, just for us because we have more experience with it. Okay, so I've gone through the initialization, update, and then set. Okay, next step, let's come over here to our macro software, and now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to load waves, and the load spec data scan is the one all the way down here, load spec dat scan, and then I'm going to browse out of that folder, and I'm going to find our data. And we're over here, not in Igor. I need to get to San Jose State. I need to get to our research. From research, I'm going to go to our NextSAFS data, our raw data set. Make sure we want to do our raw data set. And then I'm going to find our June data. I'm going to open that guy up. And then we're going to go to spec export. Spec underscore export. I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to hit OK. Now in this case, I think we're going to get some errors because the names are just too long. Big whoopee, that's not going to stop us from doing anything right now. I think we'll be okay, and I know that we can physically, either through a batch process or some other way, get to that stage. Okay, so our data has been loaded. Now we need to use the set. So the workflow in the analysis is from top to bottom. So from set to norm to fit. So the next thing I'm going to do is say new set, and for the new set, I'm going to call it the TEY data. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the TEY data here in a second, and I'm going to manually do that. And then it's going to ask for you to manually select that. And so I'm going to go in here into the loaded data, and then I'm going to go and find our carbon data that we have. And I'm just going to take a couple of them. No big deal. I'm going to take our carbon SiO2 scans all the way down to the Sigler groups. No big deal, not a huge data set. We could do thousands, but we're just going to do a couple there. I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to load, and you'll notice that it calls it S0 for our new set, TEY. Okay, now at this set, I got a little messed up because you'll notice that if you go to batch function, it just says execute command on set. That's because I believe the next thing that we need to do is to go into norm and go to normalize waves. And what we should be able to do is then, once we have activated our new, I'm not sure if we should use new folder or original folder. I'm going to say original waves for right now. But when we activate it, it should actually allow us to do all of the properties that we want to do. And I got it to work last time. So I'm going to say enter the okay, this is the thing that screwed me up. Okay, so go back into Norm and then say new folder. And on this one, we're going to call it INT for interpolation. And I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to say do it on our original waves. And I'm going to hit continue. Okay, that's it. So now we've got N1, and I called it interpolation, INT for short. I think we can call it whatever we want. When we check back in with Dennis, we can do it whatever way we find fit. But you'll notice now, if we hit that batch function, now we've got everything that we want to do. Scroll down to interpolate on set. Now, I'm going to hit cancel here for a second, because what I want us to do is to look at our data set and do and see the work that we want to do. So N1 will be our interpolation for our X wave, while N0 gives us our data for our work, like basically our Y. And so right now we could go Windows, New Graph. Our XY, our X wave should all be in N0. Maybe it hasn't created it yet. Oh, no, there it is. It's under S0. So our X wave, I believe, should be N1. And I'm just going to highlight all of these. Let's see if this works. All right, it won't let me, it only wants me to do one X wave. But on this side, I can definitely do all of the Ys. I'm going to hit add. I'm going to say do it. And then we should be able to have a series of graphs. It doesn't want to do it for me. No big deal. Let's see if I go ahead and I say display. For some odd reason, it's not letting me do it. No problem. Let's go and say we want to do the interpolation on STET. We say the original waves, because that's the option it gives us. We hit OK. Pick folder with X energy waves. It's the original waves. Redimension and rescale waves, we say yes. Use same scaling for all waves, we say yes. Now, if it's carbon, if it's the high-res carbon, it should be 260 to 380. We hit OK. Delta X is 1. Then it says our smoothing factor. We'll keep that smoothing factor in there. What type of interpolation? We'll say a smoothing spline. I think that's correct. We'll hit OK. And now that interpolated data is now locked in N. OK. The interpolation is in order to change the spacing in our X waves. All right. So now we've got these X waves that should be inside of our data set. And then the next thing we want to do, and last time I did it, I could actually see the work being done on the waves. And I'm curious. Oh, there we go. Now we've got it. So let me go ahead and display this. Selection is too big to file in a single command. It doesn't like that. How would I do this one? There we go. So it looks like we've got some amount of work. It looks wonky. It doesn't look normal. But let's not fret about it right now. What I want you to see is what can happen to the data set as we do work. I'm not sure. It already looks like a linear background subtraction has already happened. Don't worry about it. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do sublinear background Raman on set. We're going to do our linear background from 360 to 280, which should be in our area before the edge. We hit OK. Pick the property to be filled with the area of normalization. We hit none. We hit continue. Now in this area, I'm not exactly sure what to do. It says area range from 260 to 381, normalized to 1,000. We'll go ahead and we'll let that happen. And you'll notice that our data as it's being plotted will also change. Zero crossing energy of line should be at 280. And we'll hit continue. So far, so good. Area correct. Now at this stage, last time the program basically looked like it was doing work on the data set, and you can see it operating here down in the left hand side. So when you see this guy rotating, that means that our macro is actively doing work. So right now it should be doing the Raman linear background on set. You'll also notice that it kind of gives you a little bit of an update there. It says so far so good, area correct. And we'll see if that guy actually does that right. And then after that, we would actually do the area. Now let's say, for the sake of this video, because I don't want it to be too fast, I'm going to abort. I'm going to hit OK. And it looks like we did some little wonky work on our data set. It didn't finish up. Everything's kind of screwy. Don't worry about it. Let's go back to the batch function. And then from batch function, we're going to do one of the area plots, because we want to be able to say that we have our data set that is normalized to 1 in the high energy regime, which would be at 380. And for that one, I believe we're using our area set. And that might be the align area high energy with line on set. Or it could be another one, fill area on set. I think it's norm area on set. So we're going to do norm area, range from 360 or 381 to 260, normalized to 280. Well, it should be actually normalized to 380 from what I recall, but that says 280. I don't know. We'll keep 280 in there just for sake of argument, and bam, as soon as you do that, it automatically does work on your data set, and you saw that change. I don't think that that was correct, so let's imagine I want to undo that. I probably already screwed it up, and so this is where kind of the workflow that's needed for the macro is not super clear to me, but don't worry about it. We're going to do our 380 to 260. While executing a wave assignment to the following error occurred, attempt to operate on a null missing wave. I'm not sure why I got that error. Okay, so please rewind the video. I did load, then I created a set, then I had to activate the new set, then go into normalization, use the new normalized set by making a new folder. Once I did that, then the batch functions became active. That should help us move forward. I've been messing around with it for a little bit, and I'm just following the notes as is and screwing around at the same time. So you let me know if this is helpful or not, and we can move forward as much as we possibly can. Okay, thanks. Bye.